Have you ever experienced or thought about using drugs before? I'm assuming the answer to that question is no. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever drank a can of Coke, a cup of coffee, maybe an energy drink? If you answered yes to that question, then yes, in fact, you have done a drug before.
Wow.
Caffeine is a psychoactive drug, which is a drug that alters a person's state or mind. Caffeine is also the world's most largest used psychoactive drug in the world. Some other notable psychoactive drugs are cocaine, LSD, and cannabis. But when we think of those kind of psychoactive drugs, we think of negative thoughts. Whereas caffeine, we don't usually relate it to a type of drug. After doing extensive research, I will further define caffeine and explain the pros and cons associated with it. Caffeine is a chemical substance that can be man-made or found naturally. It can be extracted naturally from things like coffee beans, cocoa seeds, tea leaves, and other plant species. Where on the other hand, it can be man-made in factories and laboratories through a chemical synthesis of urea, which is a product found predominantly in fertilizers. Some products that have chemical synthetic caffeine in it are things like caffeine, medicines, sodas, energy drinks, workout supplements. And according to Healthline.com, about 80% of the world's population consumes at least one caffeinated drink a day. When a caffeine product is consumed, it stays in your system for about 4 to 6 hours. So it is safe to watch how much caffeine you drink throughout the day. According to MayoClinic.org, 400 milligrams of caffeine is a safe amount to drink a day, which is about 10 cans of Coke or 4 cups of coffee. Anywhere over 500 milligrams a day can be lethal or in fact deadly. That is about 7 cups of coffee. So what happens when you indulge in caffeine? Many people consume caffeine for its positive outcomes, its positive effects. One positive effect caffeine has is that it alleviates fatigue. Many people, when they wake up in the morning, they make a cup of coffee and they drink it because caffeine stimulates your mind and wakes your body up. Another positive effect that caffeine has is it improves concentration and focus. Have you ever been to a school library and you notice that every student has a cup of coffee at hand? This is a very common sight. By drinking coffee, these students are able to concentrate on schoolwork and do better. Caffeine may also improve memory. Johns Hopkins researchers believe that caffeine enhances memory. Johns Hopkins researchers did a study and they grabbed a group of participants. They told them to study some images. They had half the group have a 200 milligram tablet of caffeine, and they had the other half of the group have a placebo, which was a pill that contained no caffeine. Now the participants, they did not know whether or not they had the placebo or the tablet of caffeine. And the researchers found that the participants with the tablet of caffeine had enhanced memory, and they found that pictures that they were shown after receiving the tablet of caffeine were not pictures they were shown before receiving it. Although caffeine is good, it also has its bad side effects. Too much caffeine can cause jitteriness. Jitteriness is uncontrollable movement and can make you nervous and unable to rest, which can cause anxiety. Moreover, too much caffeine can affect sleeping schedules. If you were to just drink too much caffeine throughout the day or just late at night, you probably would not get too much sleep. It can take several hours for the stimulating effects of caffeine to wear off. So if a person were to drink caffeine at nighttime, they would probably not get adequate amounts of sleep and would probably need to depend on a cup of coffee the next morning to properly function. Now, it is very dangerous to live like this, to constantly rely on caffeine to go on throughout your day. Just like any drug in the world, especially one you are heavily involved in, it could be very hard to quit cold turkey. According to MedlinePlus.com, side effects of or withdrawals of caffeine are irritability, drowsiness, and lack of concentration. Today, I have informed you about the Effects of caffeine and the pros and cons associated with it. Caffeine is a chemical substance that can be found man-made and in many products around the world. Once consumed, caffeine can give you many different side effects, either positive or negative. Some positive side effects are alleviates fatigue and increases concentration. It also should be noted that consuming caffeine has the chance to enhance memory. On the other hand, caffeine also has some negative side effects, some including lack of sleep, jitteriness, and withdrawal symptoms. Although caffeine has its positive effects, people should note that indulging in caffeine can also be associated with the negative effects. Caffeine can be your best friend, but also caffeine can be your worst enemy.